So Neil, I chose a poem with a suitcase, the only poem with a suitcase I had, and that was a poem that I wrote when I was in India. The only time in my life I have been in India, and I had a wonderful 6 weeks there. And just the day before I left, the poem came by itself almost, and it's a very long poem. Of course, then I corrected and added, and but the main stream of the poem came by itself, and it was a joyful poem. And it's usually I use my poems to shout out against the hostile world, but this was a joyful poem, and I enjoyed it very much. And the other poem, it's called My Own Voice, and it really is my identity. So although it was body, we spoke about these things because we were working on body, but I was thinking that my voice is also a part of my body, and it's related to a language and to an oppressed language. And so that's why I say things like, then it started with sounds, but then it came words, our words and the other people words, because when you're in your own home and you're being insulted because you have your own voice, and then it's me through my voice, it's my identity through my voice. So that's why I chose those poems, one with a suitcase and one that was me, my body, my voice. Okay.
Wow, those are awesome expressions, or put into, encapsulated into words. And I enjoyed every bit of your recitation. And I'm just going to briefly share on the inspiration behind the poems. The theme was suitcase, and because I'm a migrant, and also even before being a migrant, I've always, back in my home country, I could never stay in one place. I always had to work in different places, and also because of creativity and the arts, we always had to travel. So now, when we were given the themes, one of my suitcase actually broke, because we as migrants, when you are still in immigration process, you'll be moved from one place to another. And so when this theme came, I just also, um I keyed into it, because even where I grew up, they are bushmen, the Khoisan. So they are like, no, they have a nomadic life. So sometimes I was just wondering, me moving around so much, is it because of the territory that I grew up in? Does the influence come from, although I'm not biologically, a nomadic. Um, so that was the inspiration for this poem, that we carry suitcases filled with stories. And also, it has a bit of an identity theme as well, being a nomad. Yeah, so that was the inspiration of the first poem that I did. And the second poem, identity, it has the embodiment of self representation, and not being conformed to to the standard of this world. There's so much body shaming, and even as an African woman, when you are described, it's always like as if full lips, it's something that isn't beautiful, as if having hips and having a curvy, and it's not really well. And the inspiration came also from my two both my two daughters. I'm big boned, I'm chubby, but both my two daughters, they have a little bit more than I have. And I always, tell them that you're fearfully and wonderfully made, you are beautiful. And when we were told to come to write up something relating to identity, I just had to put it out there loudly, that this is part of my ancestors. I carry the DNA of my ancestors from me, and I carry light. I didn't even choose my chromosome, so this is me. accept it, embrace it, because I have, and I'm enjoying it so much that my body has so much musicality to it. So in a nutshell, that's it.
Yeah, and that's something that we have in common as we have sometimes spoken about. I don't feel like a migrant, but I feel like an exile many times. And it's not that I had to leave my country because I was being persecuted directly, individually, although many people from my country have been. And especially, well, my family has been imprisoned and all these things. But I just felt so in the margins and many times so locked up in this country, which is not a country, it's a prison of different nations. Spain is a prison of different nations. And at this precise moment, we are really being very much imprisoned. And once again, I feel like going out and never coming back, which has happened several times in my life, because and that's why the idea of exile rather than migrant. um, but yeah, I've spent half of my life getting out of my country because I couldn't stand it anymore, and going back because I was missing it, and then going out again because I couldn't stand it anymore. And this has been, and now again it repeats itself, because right now we are once more being humiliated, the whole people, and we started something with a lot of hope, and now I see that people are getting again submissive and are getting again obedient. And I'm sure one of the reasons is this COVID pandemic, which to me is a great um, uh, trial of controlling people to see how much are we going to be willing to obey, and I see that people here in Catalonia specifically have been so used to submission that they just obey and obey and obey. And I feel terrible. I feel like I have to leave again. I can't explain this anymore.
Yeah. It was wonderful having this chat, and going through the creative process with you, and just sharing in the rich culture of your language as well. And yeah, I'll grow into writing in my own language as well. I'm inspired by you. Thank you for your
Oh,
time.
thank you. Thank you. Do it, please. It has been for me so enriching as well because, your poetry is beautiful and you are a very full woman. And I didn't know anything about Africa, really. The only country in Africa I've been for 10 days was Morocco, the only country in Africa. But it's something completely unknown to me except for a few films, for a few things, and you don't know how distorted you get, the information that you have about something as complicated. But Africa is our origin, the origin of all of us.
Yeah.
It's Mother Earth itself. And, to me, there is a bit of this in you, I love your poetry and I think you're a wonderful person, and I hope someday we can meet in person.
Surely. Thanks to the Suitcase of Poetry. Thank you for having us.
Indian kaleidoscope. I take with me a suitcase full of colors and fabrics, mandalas, and surprises found in tiny shops, in the dust of many streets, where unstoppable the many honks have a dialogue. Let me overtake you. Careful, here I come. Wise up, man. Hey, watch the cow. What is this dog thinking about? Please. Among three-wheeled modern rickshaws and monkeys and dogs and all kinds of pedestrians spread through the bright heat that hides and shows everything. Suddenly, the underground temple lights up, protected by Ganesh, while outside Hanuman grimaces and hides among the branches so as to invite us for a later meeting in the darkness of the forest. And Shiva teaches us to be flexible using yoga. And from one position to the other, we renew our endocrine glands and become young with the non doing wisdom, because both dance and rest are Brahma. Polar duality is, in fact, inseparable unity.
Spirit woman, I hear the hollow sound within the whirlwind, beckoning me to escape, to explode into flight, embrace the vivid sky. Without a ticket, without hurried goodbyes, I carry a suitcase bursting with anticipation. To see fresh faces, to hear new dialects, eat food that pulls my palate in diverse direction. They say I'm a wanderer. I chase the sun, I dance to the rhythm of thunder. My feet carry light, my spirit finds its home in my footsteps. Spirit woman. Zip codes and addresses cannot contain me. Neither is my name tied to a location. The universe and all its fullness, I need to see. There is soul in my footsteps. They say I'm a wanderer. I chase the sun. I dance to the rhythm of thunder.
Veu pròpia. Al principi eren sons o emocions que captava de l'entorn i feia meus.
Identity. My body has a language of its own.
Alguns, d'altres m'esporuguien.
A dialect not foreign to my ancestors.
Després van venir les paraules, les nostres i les dels altres.
Evolving to the speed of light, swaying to the rhythm of life.
La veu se'm deixondia, es deixava anar, construïa història, jugava.
In or out of body, adorned by a coat of melanin.
Més tard va ser una veu que es defensava,
Sassy, curvy, funky, coscally high.
que cridava enmig de la nit, dissentia i argumentava.
Sparkling eyes, full lips. I could go on, you know.
Va aprendre a interpretar, a canviar de mons, adaptar-se i experimentar.
When I speak of my body,
Hi havia silencis que feien por i llavors la veu sortia de mare.
I speak of a new song, drummed by ancient mountains.
Se m'excitava, perdia l'oremus i es malgastava.
When I speak of my body,
Va ser també una veu desesperada, provant d'obrir camins, colpejant portes tancades.
I speak of my conscious self without borders, without fear.
Massa vegades ha estat una veu cansada, que vivia en mons estrets que la tancaven.
I'm free to be me.
Mai, però, ha estat una veu vençuda i amb el temps ha anat trobant la seva mesura.